and we can leave our pathetic life behind.
Yay!
Follow me!
And follow me also.
Hello, my fellow traumatized children. Welcome back to another round of analyzing the Muppet Show if it were on even more drugs. If you're watching this before you've seen the actual show, don't watch the show. This episode is all about the importance of family and how through the power of friendship we can overcome all things. My favorite part of this episode is when Roy bursts in and says, "It's Roy time," and then he royed all over the place. It was amazing. This egg reminds me of the egg that turns into Yellow's adopted kid in the original series, who was brutally murdered. But the real first thing I noticed that made me pause the show and really think for a second was this. The milk carton has a picture of the three guys, which means they're missing. And the milk carton thing was specifically used for missing children. This raises a lot of questions. Have they been kidnapped? Are they in an alternate reality? Why do they have a carton of milk with their own missing poster on it in the first place? Riddle me this, Batman. Is Grolton the Havris? Or is Man the dog, I reckon? Every episode of Cursed Wallace and Gromit that shows up in the show ends up relating to the episode in some way. In this case, they're talking about his brother visiting, which ties into the family theme. Also, notice that Leslie is the script editor for Grolton and Havris. Look at this delicious looking pile of food, with a famous family discount. I sure do hope nothing out of the ordinary happens later with the food. People are dying to know what your final guess would have been. What people? I just saw the movie Funny Games, and this addressing the audience thing will always give me nightmares now. Let's crack into these chuddy D's. Man, imagine for a second that you referred to snacks with shortened slang versions. Like you go to eat some Doritos, and you say, these deets sure are delicious. But then the bag of Doritos starts singing about how they're really bad for you. You realize that the singing Doritos were depressed all along, and their song of self-loathing helps you reevaluate your own life and your own self-image and kind of helps you become kinder to yourself. And speaking of apples, this little guy pops up and asks us to try a healthy option. And the flashbacks. Oh my god, the flashbacks. Fortunately, he is mutilated and cast aside by these delightful siblings, Lily and Todney. I'm just personally thankful that they were never co-joined from the neck down. That would have been weird. Our trusted trio have trouble opening the bag because the bag is a family pack. That's just a suggestion. They have to put that on there. We can't have non-families eating from the family pack, so these little shits decide to teach them about the importance of family. It's funny how Duck says Yellow Guy is the pet, and neither Red nor Yellow do anything to dispute that. Let's just say it's possible Yellow wasn't lying when he called himself a yellow pig. The twins taking the image of Roy and throwing it into the garbage is the best thing they do this whole episode. There is so much tension here. Like the Rick and Morty creators could have written this episode.
Dude, what the hell?
Todney pees himself, which is metaphorically referenced later when he pees himself again. Todney, are you okay? Studies show that most kids after a certain age who continue to wet the bed were abused as kids. Sure, we're not technically a family, but we have the same lawyer. Is this your shared lawyer? Duck, I'm on to you.
We're not a real family unless you have a landline.
So true, Lily. So true. I noticed this for the first time while scripting this video, but does she cut his brain open? I believe this whole song is poking fun at kids shows that talk about families in a very reductive way. The twins are outright saying what is and isn't to be considered a family using a list of highly exaggerated and super specific requirements.
L is for lawyer, like Better Call Saul, and H is for hiding. I'm inside your walls.
Foul, bitch, tick. That's not a word. No, it's not. It's actually a few different words. There's a rune here, and beneath it is the drawing of Red being locked outside, which was featured in the original web series. There are so many background Easter eggs things in this series that impressive would be a massive understatement. In the family pictures that Duck has, a person who looks like Leslie is possibly with her brother or son, what looks like a boy playing a trumpet. could this just be a coincidence? It's probably not a coincidence. The grimy and faded look of the majority of this episode is fantastic. Seeing the family in the house with the muted tones and creepy lighting really just contrasts from the bright colors of pretty much every other episode. There is an overbearing feeling of decay and sickness that permeates the background. Also, the grandma looks like Malcolm, and I have a very strong urge to feed her gravel. The mom's face is missing from the painting. I want to take this time to say the family scent bit is by far the single stupidest and most pointless thing that happens on this show, and I'm ashamed to admit I laughed at it. Fucking sue me. Look, father and brother are home, and I know exactly which is which right now. Don't you? What I am about to discuss doesn't really have a lot of visible evidence backing it, but I think it's interesting, so I'm going to mention it anyways. Just don't put too much stock in it. The way the family reacts to Todney mentioning the mom is kind of suspicious. It's kind of sus, not gonna lie. As is the way the home movie scene is just entirely set up. The kids saying that they're still hungry after the plates have been emptied, the lack of a present maternal figure, the emphasis on the day being important or special, and their later discussion of family secrets could be implying the existence of something extremely dark involving the whereabouts of the mother. It's sad, twisted, dark, and sadistic. What I'm saying is the kids ate the mom.
Oh, Grandma's right. It's family rave time. Family rave time. Family rave time. Family rave time. Family rave time.
There's potentially a dozen symbols here, but you know what? I'm going to streamline the symbol stuff. Reddit user Man of Cardboard made a post detailing the locations of every single symbol in the series. I'll go over all of them when I cover episode 6, so it all flows together better, and so I don't have to keep cross-referencing which ones I've already picked up and which ones I haven't. Also, there were a ton that I missed from the other episodes, so yeah, it'll just be easier this way. Are they using teeth as game pieces? Are those mother's teeth?
Now I get to move across the family bridge and mingle with the cousins. Yay!
Okay, forget Rick and Morty. Briggs Hatton could have written this. Lily's hand is a human hand here, and it's just freaking terrifying, and I don't like looking at it, and I wish it would go away. Duck asks where they got the family game from, and they reply with, "We didn't invent it." That could mean something more, but it's also just very random, and it made me laugh. The show maintains an almost dreamy atmosphere by making the camera focus only on specific subjects and keeping everything else blurry and undefined. When they are playing their family game time, Lily tells Yellow that he can use Mother's game piece, and everything's fine. But later, Duck tries to take the same game piece, and they freak out on him and send him away. This is a phenomenon that I like to call foreshadowing. Because Yellow's the mom in their eyes. You get what I'm saying. You're not the dad of us. This line made me cry tears. Since when do the kids have these supernatural teleportation powers, and why is it never mentioned again? The world may never know. All right, prepare yourself. This is the biggest clue that I'm going to draw your attention to in this video. After this point, there is no reason to even keep watching, so are you ready? These pictures in the family tree room, they're all framed. The siblings talk about how great their family is, but then show very little remorse when discussing the death of their uncle. All they care about is the filing cabinet he left them. An uncle is just like an extra cheeky father, but weaker and in the distance. You don't mind it when they stay, but you're not too sad when they leave. This line made me cry tears. We, the audience, realize something very important here. They actually learned something in the last episode. They understand when Lily tells them that the uncle has died. As a more overarching thing I'd want to point your attention to, they are not as oblivious as they were in the original YouTube series. They are not as helpless, and their characters are significantly stronger because of it. The family tree takes an excessive blood sample that causes Red to pass out, and this whole sequence feels like a parody of sites that ask for a blood sample to tell you your ancestry. Notice that the tree seems to gain power from drinking the blood, similar to Dracula, or a Hollywood movie star. There's a little figurine of Duck, similar to the ones Leslie uses later, at the bottom of the tree. I don't have a ton to say about this, except it looks trippy and it's super, super cool. I rewound this like 3 times just because of how mesmerized I was by how pretty it is.
Now, come along now, children. Let's go home for Daddy's birthday.
Fine.
Lovely. What? No,
Oh my god. Is he a fucking sociopath? Or does he just have rabies?
This song is beautiful and fits in very well with the overarching theme of the episode. Plus, the line, "I can have a family meal, I just eat it slowly," is actually a really powerful sentiment. Think for yourself, believe in yourself. The lyrics are perfect and the song is beautiful. I also like how the show understands that adult can mean complex or disturbing, as opposed to sex, shocking jokes, sex, meaningless comic violence, sex, tasteless references to Kanye West making a city I could never visit because my family had to escape Nazi Germany, and the word that starts with S and ends with your ex. It's not much, but at least we're not going backwards like grandma. That's how the generational wars got started. Pay close attention when the kids start to measure Yellow, because they don't only measure his height against the wall, they also take his sizes, his clothing sizes. In a weird sort of way, you can tell that a community writer helped with this show. Specifically Briggs. I was under the impression they said they had a bunk bed. This scene captures what it's like going to a sleepover, and then the family is super creepy, and you keep thinking to yourself, something bad is going on here, but you can't understand what it is because you're just a kid and you're innocent. On a lighter note, the twins say family more than Vin Diesel. Todney's eyes moving when Lily compliments his singing made me cry real tears. The bad kind. There are cigarettes all over the floor for some reason. Plus, this guy is just hanging out under the kid's bed. I can't decide if Dollar Store Cousin It or the Time Child are cooler characters. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. For now, I'm tied between both of them, but they're like the coolest characters in the show. Red feeling like he needs to apologize for being happy makes me sad. The entire scene where Red Guy finally meets his family is a reality that many people face. Sometimes your family is just distant or even absent, and though things seem okay, they never really were and likely never will be. You somehow know deep down that they will never truly care about you at all. Isn't that delightful? Duck's toast is the child that he killed before.
My life is an endless cycle of pain. I just want it to stop.
This sequence is highly reminiscent of Texas Chainsaw and is one of my favorite moments in the entire series. The build up to this point is just absolutely amazing. And then the actual resolution is so bizarre and so surreal that it made Sigmund Freud look like Stephen Wright. Yellow's face is now on the family painting because they've integrated him in as the mother, and they dress him up and force him to take on the maternal role in their family so they can get a discount on family chicken. It's beautiful. Like, I want to know what they were doing to write this. It's revealed that the little tiny guy is actually the dad and the big dude was the brother, and Yellow's actor completely drops the voice that they've been doing the whole show when he yells, "That one's the dad!" showing us not even the actors knew just how insane this show was going to be. Also, quick aside, but after everything Yellow has been through, this is the thing that pushes him over the edge. This was the hair. This was the straw that broke the camera's back. What? The camera? This was the straw that broke the camel's back? The family doesn't care much about love, only purpose and cold, unfeeling practicality. Yellow was made just so he could fill a traditional family role, just so he could order that meal for them, just so they could get the discount. They don't care about him. Kind of reminds me of how Red took advantage of a certain someone just to make them like the duck. They're saying, make the call, mother's fingers make the call, Grolton's chicken family discount family tub will feed us all. I didn't need to tell you guys that, but I just had to rewatch the scene like 6 times to really catch what they were saying, and I'm still not 1000% sure, so I just thought I'd toss it in there as an extra secret or whatever. You can actually see Roy walking past the window in the background here. Okay, this is legitimately horrifying. And yet, I was laughing throughout this scene at the absurdity of the entire situation. This show is unbelievable. These characters are unbelievable. This chicken, though, this chicken It's believable. Roy bursts in, and it feels like an unexpected cameo in an Avengers movie, with 15 people in the movie theater screaming their heads off and completely ruining the experience for everybody else there. But my initial question is, where the hell are they? There's a huge brick wall behind him, and pretty much no other clues except the bright white light outside that looked nothing like natural light. Are they in a city? Are they in a bunker? Are they in hell? Does it matter? Let's get serious for a second. I've seen some people online talk about Roy in a positive way, but my interpretation of this scene is a little bit different. A lot of people said that he comes to the house to rescue his son, but he actually completely ignores his son and seems to have only showed up because chicken and murdering was involved. He reminds me of the dad from Peaky Blinders, slight spoilers, who we all learn is a scumbag fairly early on. But then he comes back into his son's life and we know he's likely up to no good, but the son won't believe it. He wants so much for his dad to be there for him, to spend time with him, to love him, and Shelby Sr. knows it. So he takes advantage of it, steals a ton of money, leaves without saying goodbye. Roy is an absent father appearing back in his kid's life for his own personal gain. And I realize not everyone will agree with me on this, but my subjective version of the story is important for my contrived video ending idea, so bear with me. In the end, this episode is about choosing your own circle. It's a beacon of hope to those who might not have a traditional, stereotypical family. You do not need to be bound by flesh and blood. You could be bound instead by the bonds shared between a group, specifically a group who share a lawyer. If you're a first-time viewer, goodbye. And if you're coming back, goodbye. Hope you have a great rest of your day. See what happens when you subscribe to my channel? You get a Curtis Connor reference at the end of this specific video, so press that subscribe button for an extra farewell. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.